What's up, Brave Hearts community? This is Sean Heineman, your premier pre-engagement coach, back with another segment of It's Scary to Remarry, wanting you to love fearlessly. Today's topic, as you can see, man divorced his wife for withholding sex. Now, there's a reason I decided to go forth with this topic because, well, a couple of different reasons. It went crazy on Twitter. Originally it was on, I think, Spiritual World. I seen it and decided to share it on my Twitter. Good evening. And when I shared it on my Twitter, it went crazy. I think I had like 200,000 something views and over 1,600 comments, and people were going in about this guy, and then even on the wife, some of the things that the wife might have done. So I decided to tackle this topic, and if you stick around, I'm going to talk about some things that I've learned and am currently doing to help keep my marriage a healthy sex life, and some things that I'm implementing and that my wife and I are working on. So I'll talk about that. So if you have any questions or comments, talk to me, let me know. So some of the things that the people were saying in the comment section was, I would have left 2 years. They went 2 years without having sex. They crazy. I would have left a long time ago. And I get it. I want to talk, though, from a perspective from a woman's perspective, because I am married to a woman. And then some things from a male perspective that I believe is going to be helpful to the men as well, and vice versa. So when I looked at it originally, because there's a tweet about it as well. So if you want to see, I think I retweeted it on my page, or X, whatever you want to call it. And I guess he was saying how he was doing, I guess, what he was supposed to. He said he was taking care of the kids and he was washing dishes or something like that, and she was withholding sex. So she said, I'm staying single. I get that. Yeah, marriage is not for everybody. Marriage, yeah, marriage takes work if you want to have a healthy relationship. Yeah, because one thing, I love my single folks. Love y'all. Y'all know I have a heart for y'all. The only thing with my single folks is, though, and you hear this on social media a lot, folks when I get married, I'm going to do this. When I get married, I'm going to do that. And I'm like, all right, that's what you say you're going to do. But what's going to actually happen when you get married? I'm going to bust it open. I'm going to do all kind of stuff when we get married. All right. Okay. Stay single. That's my hashtag, stay single. On some real talk, though, let's jump into this, because I want to respect your time. The national average, I believe, married couples are having sex once a week. Now, of course, people can say, that's crazy. Why would I have sex once a week and I got married? Well, when you factor in kids, when you factor in bills, when you factor in whether if you're doing church, ministry, whether if you are just different stuff, kids got games, working, overtime, all of these different things that's going on throughout the course of a day. So you can't lay up and have sex all day. If that's the case, y'all gonna be homeless. You can't have sex every day and not pay bills. So there's a bunch of different things going on. And for those who have kids, you know what I'm talking about. Life gets real out here. So let's talk about this from, I'm not a woman, like I said, but I'm married to one. And I talk to women in this area or in the other area in marriage and relationships. And a lot of wives are frustrated that they don't get help around the house. Now, statistically, I believe 25, yeah, because I was doing some research on this. I did a video on it as well, so go check out the YouTube page, Scary to Remarry. I talked about this. 25% of couples divorce over household duties, which means somebody is not carrying their weight. Now, if you are married, and a lot of times the wife is carrying the bulk of the load, right? She's working just like you're working. But as a man, you can't expect her to just come home and do all the wifely duties and cook and clean and all these other things. She worked just like you. So you have to help out too. So it's a team effort. You have to know what works best for your household as well. I'm not telling anyone how to run their house. All I'm saying is that if you want to have sex, if you want to prioritize sex, whoever the higher desire is, most of the time is men, you have to help carry the weight. Now, there can be some other things that can go on in a woman's life, whether there's some kind of hormonal imbalance, that can always be a thing. Getting your checkups, making sure that everything is good, because she can have a low libido, different stuff like that. So a lot of times women are tired and they're stressed out, and you can't expect her to be a porn star at the end of the night after she done worked 12 hours and made you dinner and all those different things. And then let's talk about this, because we don't talk about this enough. That's what's appreciated. We don't talk about this enough. Let's talk about, and for men and women, let's talk about childhood trauma, right? We don't talk about that enough when it comes to sex, especially entering into marriage. I don't want to get too biblical, because I'm not going to argue with anybody over what God said. So let's just talk about this from a practical standpoint. If you are dealing with some kind of sexual trauma in the past that's unaddressed, or maybe you are currently dealing with it, that's a legitimate reason to take your time in this process, and understanding that maybe she had some bad sexual experiences and it's not the best feeling for her right now. Now, it's easy to say, yeah, you should have told me that before we got married, which is true. But sometimes when people are dating, they won't tell you everything. You can go to therapy, and then some people, they don't want to tell you everything, which can be a red flag at times. I think during premarital counseling, which I do pre-engagement coaching, even before you buy the ring, I'm like, come talk to me before you even buy a ring. So don't even waste your time, because this might not work. And I believe 15 to 20% of people who get engaged call the engagement off. Only 15 to 20%, which I believe that number should be higher. But anyway, that's another segment for another time. So if there is some sexual trauma, if there are some bad sexual experiences, right, that can lead to not wanting to have sex with your spouse. Maybe it reminds them, it triggers them to think like, oh, this was that feeling that happened to me back then, or, different things. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know. You can come up and we can talk about this as well. So if there are some bad sexual experiences, that's something that needs to be addressed. If you're going to talk about it before getting the ring. Talk about it before getting married, because I do believe that those sexual experiences, and that's why, the thing about culture is this, right? Culture is cool with you doing what you want to do, just don't get caught. Because if you get caught, then we're going to come for you. Do whatever you want. I'm going to do me. All right. Yeah, but soon as you do you and everybody find out about you, then everybody's coming for you. So that's why I don't get caught up in that. So past sexual trauma, yeah, that's something that should be addressed. And then another thing that should be addressed is for men is understanding discipline and self-control. I think this is so important while you are single, right? A lot of times people say, go have a whole phase, go and sleep with a whole bunch of women, go do this, go do that, knock them down. Yeah, but what happened when you get married and then you have an urge and she's having an off day, but you've trained yourself to just get sex when you want to? Now you're upset because you're used to getting it. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I think it's important for men to practice sexual discipline while they are single. When you practice self-control, you can have more grace for your wife when she's having an off day, when she don't feel like doing it. You know, it's just like, oh, you the only person I can sleep with. Yeah, okay. Now, I will say for the ladies as well, when you do get married, yes, it's important because your husband wants to have sex. Most men are nasty. I'm just tell you now. Most men want to have sex. They think about it all the time, right? So know what you're getting into, but at the same time, there should be some mutual respect. I wanted to get married when I was 19. I thought that was the best woman in the world. As I got older, now the less and less I want marriage, which is totally understandable. Again, marriage isn't for everyone. It isn't. Some people can't handle it. Once you find out that someone is actually human and they're broken just like you, now you want a divorce because you found out that they're human and they have issues just like you. They have unresolved traumas just like you, things that went unaddressed just like you. So the thing to me with marriage is grace and space. You got to have grace and space. You give them grace and you give them enough space to grow. Sometimes we need to unlearn some things going into marriage because we've been indoctrinated with this and that and all these different things and what culture has told us what was cool. So we have to unlearn some things. So give them that grace. So I will say for men, have the discipline. And I will say that every woman is not the same. Okay, remember that. Because I know with guys a lot of times, and I'm not coming for the guys. If you have any questions or comments, talk to me. I'm not coming for my guys. I'm just trying to give you some game. Most guys, they just think that they're supposed to just get it when they want to. You know, she's a whole human being. You know what I'm saying? She has feelings just like you. Every woman is different. If you was that dude in high school or you was in college and you was the quarterback at Florida State or who, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Well, whatever college you went to and you was that dude, you can't treat your wife like you were treating those women in college. They don't, she's not a bop it. You know what I'm saying? You can flick it, twist it, pull it. Like, she's not like every woman. Your wife is a different woman. And I think that's the problem with a lot of guys. They get used to a routine and they just think that every woman is the same, but they're not. Especially when it comes to your spouse, when it comes to your wife and someone that you're going to marry, because she needs to be cultivated. She needs that intimacy. I did a video series at scaredtoremarry.com. Go get that series, and I talked about deepening intimacy and some things that you can do along the lines of days where you're not going to have sex, but you want the deep intimacy, right? Says, let me see, I'm getting divorced. My ex and separated because she wasn't giving me sex. 20 years I stepped out because of the frustration. All I needed was a consistent sex life. And I'm sorry that you had to experience that, because it is real. I'm not taking away from any man's experience. I will say most women, if she's cultivated, now I'm not giving her a pass, because there are some things I believe some women need to work through. And they probably haven't even talked to you about it, which isn't fair to you. I will say, though, that if you have those conversations, if you work through those things with her together, sometimes it just takes time. And then as a man, are you a safe space for her? Because we always talk about these safe spaces. We talk about, I am your diary. You think you Alicia Keys, all this other stuff. Can you be 20 years is interesting. And I'm sorry you had to experience that. I will say that, can you be a safe place for her? Can you be a safe space? Because most women, and I know that I struggle with this in my marriage, because I had to get to a place where I had to control my emotions, not let my emotions get the best of me, and not play the victim role, woe is me and stuff like that, and actually just listen and tune in, lock in. And if you can be that safe space for her, she'll start to tell you some things about her and her life. Man, my wife and I, we had a interesting conversation the other night. I'm not gonna tell you about the conversation, but it was so good. It was intimate, fully clothed, but intimate. And at the end of the day, I understood my wife better, because I was able to be that safe space for her, that judgment-free zone, where she didn't have to feel like she had to be on guard, like she couldn't tell me something because she, probably was thinking I was gonna get upset, or I couldn't handle my emotions and stuff like that. Remember, emotions make wonderful servants but terrible masters. You have to get control of your emotions. Don't make any decisions until you are emotionally regulated. So if you can be a safe place for her, she will tell you everything. She'll let you know. I don't like doing this. I like doing that. I don't like doing this. So if you can be that place for her, she will tell you everything you need to know, lock in, and that deepens the intimacy in the relationship. And it also helps with sex, because now she feel more safe with you. Statistically, I believe there's a lot of women. I can't remember the number of women who don't have orgasms. And there was a study that was saying that a lot of times women don't trust that person. And that can be a whole conversation, because somebody asked me about that. I posted something on my Instagram, and they was like, why would a woman sleep with somebody they don't trust, and all this other stuff. So that's another conversation for another time. So all I'm saying is, if you can trust, if she can trust you, you can deepen the intimacy, and then the sex becomes better over time. As you can see, I'm folding clothes. Brothers help out around the house with clothes, with washing dishes, with household chores, with mopping, with children, stuff like that. Those things help her tremendously. Man, and I joke around, but I'm being serious at the same time. Look, the sex is amazing when you help out around the house. It's amazing. I'm trying to get her brother some game. So, man, she will. But anyway, I'm going to leave that out. So all I'm saying is, if you can take some of those pressures off of her, because she's setting doctor's appointments for kids, she's running kids around, she's doing all these different things. You help out with those household chores, she'll be good. And remember, don't do it just to get sex, because she's gonna be like, oh, he mopping the floor today, he must want some booty. It shouldn't work like that. Like, mop the floor just because the house is dirty. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it just to get sex, because women, they pick up on that stuff real fast. 100% trust and safety to be vulnerable is also key. Yes, and I just spoke about that, about trust and safety and vulnerability. Can she speak what's on her mind without you flying off the handle? Because as my old pastor would say, the doors of the church are closed. When she can't trust you, there would be no church tonight. The doors are closed. So you have to make sure that both of you are locked in, where she can talk to you in a safe space. Ladies, wives, I will say that understand that your husband is sexual. Your husband like to have sex. Yes, he like to have sex. He like to have it as much as he can. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna save that for another time, because I don't want to lose everybody who I have on here. I'll save it. Knowing that your husband is sexual, make that time. Maybe you can't help your girlfriends do something tonight because you know he gonna want some. Maybe you can't save the world today because You know your husband wants some. You know, take that time. Even if you have to create a schedule. I remember people would clown scheduled sex. You know, look, if you have to schedule sex, there's nothing wrong with that. At first I used to be like, why would you schedule sex? Like that's wild. But just like you schedule anything else, I think that if it works for you and your spouse, there's nothing wrong with scheduling sex. At least you know these 3 days out of the week we getting it in. So that means I can't do these other things because this is what we're doing tonight. Sometimes, you know, the spontaneous sex, that's cool. That helps too. But just know again that your husband is sexual. He like to have sex as much as he can. And especially when you stroke his ego, when you speaking into his life, like all those different things, because sometimes the wives are the higher desire and the husband isn't trying to do it as much. And some of that, and hear me, ladies, sometimes that can come from, you know, weight gain and all other stuff. Now, I will say to men, because I've been called super simp and all other stuff. So men, you can't be talking about she need to lose weight. And I did a video on this, you know, oh, you need to lose weight and you eating cheeseburgers and, you know, you can't see past your belly. So you have to make sure that you're being an example to her. So don't get on her about losing weight if you're not willing to do it. And health is important, you know, because there's men that's struggling with erectile dysfunction and all these different things. And they're like in their 20s. It's crazy. So your health is very important. Scheduled sex, spontaneous sex is good too. But you both have to be locked in where you both feel safe and comfortable and trust, right? My wife and I were talking one day, and she said, and I'll never forget this, she said, thank you for not bringing drama in our household. And that meant the world to me because I'm the type of person where it's like, I'm not trying to mess up what I got at home. I work too hard to be messing with some other chick out here that, you know, she thinks she want me. You don't want me. I got issues. You know what I'm saying? You don't want me because what it took for my wife and I to get here, you don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's a different conversation for a different time, but I'm not trying to mess up what I have at home. So I take pride in honoring and having integrity. I think that is very important. So the whole thing with the man divorcing his wife, 2 years they had sex. 2 years. That's wild. That's a conversation that needs to be had between the two of them. And if they didn't have it, it's sad because that could have been fixed. And I think a lot of married couples with having sex once a week. I mean, man, all the single folks is getting it in. What's up with the married folks? The married folks not getting it in. What's up with that? You know, I would imagine the married folks would be getting it in because here it is. You married to this one person. You should trust that person, right? And you should be able to enjoy yourselves and do some stuff, you know, because you're with this one person. So ultimately, I would just like for, you know, especially for my married people, to not make sex like a bad thing. And I think we've been programmed in a way to think that sex is bad for some odd reason, especially in the church and in the, you know, in the Christian world and stuff like that. It's like God created sex within marriage. You know, like how cool is that to know that God is in the midst of that. He blessed your marriage. He blessed your marriage bed. You know, so I think it's important that you have that conversation. Like, how do you view sex? That's a good conversation to have, especially if you are dating or if you're contemplating marriage. Like, have that conversation. How do you view sex? Because some people think sex is bad and it's nasty and it's perverted. And by the time you get married, you have sex twice a year because sex is nasty, because your previous encounters have always had something negative attached to it. So if anyone want to come up, because I have a couple of more minutes before I get off, because I have housework that needs to be completed. But I wanted to jump on here and just kind of talk about this for a second, because it went crazy on Twitter, and I told everyone to come join me today. So if anyone have any questions or comments, feel free to jump on and we can talk about this for a minute. Thank you all for those who decided to jump on and rock with me for a little while. I get it. It's a Tuesday night, but I wanted to talk about this because it was near and dear to my heart, because I would love to see more married couples succeed in this area of sex. So if anyone wants to come up and have any questions or comments, let's talk about it while we got a chance. And if not, I'm going to jump off here, and maybe this will go on YouTube. Maybe I'll post this on my YouTube. For those who are watching, make sure you go to the website, scarytoremarry.com, and you can also forward to that Yvette person. Oh, yeah. Yes, we're going to have that conversation about the money, because we talked about that. Yeah. Yeah, real quick, switching gears, I posted, because that's the whole conversation. I said in my Instagram post that I said, ladies, yeah, her name Lyanne. Yeah, you bet, her name Lyanne. So I posted on Instagram a post that said, ladies, your husband can't protect you. He can't protect you financially if you keep spending. And the ladies, they went off in the comment section. They were going in, and I was just like, I think people misunderstand what I'm saying. Now, the previous post I put on Instagram, I came for the men, because remember, I'm an equal opportunity employer. Men and women can get it. This isn't blue pill, red pill. If you're in the wrong, you're just in the wrong. Own it. You know what I'm saying? If you own it, then I think you can heal faster. Now, the previous comment, when I talked about the men, I said most men are hypocrites, because the very thing that you shame women about, you support, you celebrate. You know, you say you don't want a woman that's she shouldn't be doing all this, but you're in the comment section. You know, every time she posts a half naked picture, you down there in the comment section. You subscribing to the OnlyFans page. You know, you supporting it, but then you want to shame her at the end of the day. But you got money coming out your account every month for her. So the women jumped on that. They were like, yeah, get them. But then when it came to me talking about women, because look, there's women that I've talked to before that they would tell me, yeah, I had a spending problem, or I currently have a spending problem. Now, this isn't all women. I'm just saying, some people look at retail therapy and they like, I just gotta have the purse. I gotta have the shoes. Or my husband don't even know I got these shoes, or he don't even know I bought this purse, which is a whole conversation within itself. So we're going to have that conversation as well. I am not Dave Ramsey, even though I am currently, my wife and I are currently taking the financial peace class. It's just an issue, though. I read one stat that said a household financial future is based upon the wife's spending, which I thought was interesting, because a lot of times the woman is the one, she's usually the one that's buying the groceries. She's doing these different things in the household. So I understand that. That isn't any shade. I'm just saying there's some women who are great with money, but then there are some women that they struggle with that. Retail therapy fix everything. You break up with somebody, you're going to buy a purse. You do this, so and there's no shade. Again, I'm all for healthy relationships, healthy marriages, whatever it is you're struggling with, get it fixed. You can't conquer what you won't confront. So if you confront it, now you can deal with it. But I'm glad you brought that up. I notice if you don't appease their surface layer emotion, we as men are in the wrong, but a few layers of exploration and explanation and connecting the dots with the right one. Exactly. Yeah. Because a lot of people say, I know women. Yeah, but do you know your woman? I know men. Yeah, but do you know your man? It's a huge difference, right? So, yeah, I kind of got sidetracked, but it's all good. Yeah, men are not excluded from that behavior. Exactly, because you got men who will show out. They aren't. I'm just saying the majority. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get off. This whole social media gender war stuff that we got going on, especially in the African American community. The problem is, here's the biggest problem. No one is listening. When a woman says, let's just use this as an example. A wife says, I don't want to have sex. Once a week is too much. Guys are ready to jump all over her and call her everything, in the book. The problem is, as men, and vice versa, if a man says something, my wife, she's not having sex with me. Why does everything? No, we need to take time to listen. This is why most relationships struggle. The reason most relationships struggle is because no one is listening. The proper approach is, what can we do to change the behavior? Right? And I even had to learn this in my own marriage, because if my wife is telling me something, I'm what about me? What about me? Like, that doesn't get us anywhere. They're explaining, you got to give the person you got to let them lay their own groundwork, right? You got to let them say what they need to say. And then you say, okay, well, how can I fix that? How can main character syndrome. How can I help you in that, right? One thing I learned about communication is, if my wife tells me something, I'm going to repeat it back to her. So that way, she's going to say, I need you to help me around the house more often. Okay, what I heard you say was, you need me to help out around the house more often. Yes. See, so now I've heard it twice already, because she said it and I'm saying it back to her and I'm hearing it. So now we should lock in, because we just had communication. So I think that's important, instead of everybody's just, if women are being addressed, hear what the man is trying to say. So it's always going to be everybody just like, woe is me. The minute we start working together, things will get better. So we need to take a different approach, and especially with social media, because so many people, everybody has something. The beautiful thing about social media is it gives you a voice. The bad thing about social media is it gives you a voice. So I know I was kind of all over the place today. I talked about the man divorcing his wife and just some practical things that men can do and vice versa, because I do believe a lot of sexual problems in marriage comes from just bad communication. Us not saying, actually though, and now the other person get to hear their thought out loud, and now out the mouth of someone they are supposed to love and get a new level of introspection. Exactly. Yes, we have to take time to listen to each other. No one is listening. People who, if you're a great listener, people will be attracted to you. People will, a great listener, because everybody want to be heard. Everybody got a story to tell. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Everyone wants to be valued. Ask questions. So what I hear you say is this, and this. Oh, okay. So how can I help you with that? You see how that works? Now they're going to start talking, because you're asking questions. You're not making it about you. There's that one scene in The Incredibles in the movie. The wife is talking to Mr. Incredible. It's not about you. Remember that. It's not about you. And that's why I tell people to stay single, because people get married thinking it's about them. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about you. And unfortunately, too many people don't like serving. Everybody like to be served, but no one wants to serve. And I know that's a word that's maybe antiquated by today's standards. They like, serve? I'm like, serve? I don't even give good tips to the server, Um, so anyway, yeah, thank you for all who joined. I hope this video was able to help someone. I'll have this back on. I'll put this on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We just hit like 800 videos, so we got the content coming. We're gonna keep it coming. We're gonna push up for. I'm a server. You. Oh my fault. I'm sorry. But next time, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll cash app you something. I don't know. You know, give you a decent tip. No shade. I had no idea. Yeah, go to the YouTube channel, Scary to Remarry. Subscribe there. We have some phenomenal people on there. People who've been divorced, people who want to remarry again, people who people who are dating and they desire marriage. So many great people, so many great topics. We got some other stuff coming along. And just like you were saying, as far as I'm going to make sure that I have that video where I have Lyanne on, and we're going to talk about the thing about money and stuff like that. We're going to have a conversation because we need to talk about it. So thanks again, everyone. Make sure you visit scarytoremarry.com. I'm going to finish folding these clothes while the wife is out at Bible study. And yeah, finish folding these clothes because I like serving. Serving my wife. Talk to you all, people. Take care.